Daf Yud Zayin, page 17, 2 lines from the top of the page. We continue the discussion of yesterday. Rav Ada Breder Rav Yitzchak Amar, Hai Lishka, Aktsuyei Makatsia, Udeatem Mitzafon, Mitchazia Lebederon, Udeatem Midaron, Mitchazia Betzafon. So we talk a situation of appearance. A person who walk in can see what is south is north and what is north is south. So the position of the person is, he sees that Lishkat Atlaim, the place that it's the chamber of the heart, it's reached the corner of the northwest, and since it's have the appearance that it's go further south, it's appear like it's that corner. And versus if a person come from the place Beit HaMoked from the south, he see the opposite way. So in a way, the way that the Rav Ada Bar Yitzchak tried to reconcile the contradiction between the two Mishnayot, he tried to say that the Mishnah in Tamid speaks about Lishkat Atlaim, the place of the heart. It was in the corner of northwest. So therefore, it's they see all the appearance coming from the west. And the Mishnah in the Tractate Midot that said that it's a southwest, it's appear the way it looks from the north. So Rav Ada concluded, Umistabra di v'ma'aravit dromit havai. So it means, that's again, it's a question of perception. Tosfot here elaborate at length to show how the picture looks like, but in general, it's not reaching the end of the south part, even most of the part reaching the south. So Rav Ada meant to say, that's the way we understand from this Tosfot, that even the Tana in the Tractate Tamid agreed that the place of the chamber is at the corner of the west-north, but someone who comes from the south part will not see it that way. So again, the Mishnah in Tamid dealing with the building of the temple and the sanctuary and all the occupation around the daily offering. Since the Mishnah begins with the way that the Kohen rules, how the daily offering, again, he reached by lottery. So he needs to go and bring a lamb from that chamber. So now, by the way, they mention where it's located. So, and while mentioning where it's located, it's also mentioning where is the place called Beit HaMoked. So Rav Ada concluded and he said, Mistabra di v'ma'aravit dromit havai. So it's reasonable to say that the chamber was closer to the southwest corner than it was to the north corner. And here he brings another angle, another proof to that point. Mimai, how do you prove it? Mideraminan lechem hapanim alechem hapanim. Since we compare the shewbread from one location to another, which might mean the way that they prepared the shewbread was stood in the northeast corner, and the Mishnah in Tractate Midot, where we learned that the chamber, which is the place that the shewbread was prepared, stood in the southeast corner. So here you see a contradiction between the two Mishnayot, and now if you go by the Mishnah in Midot, they said clearly that the shewbread located at the corner of the southeast. So then we have the perception that that's the place of the chamber. But if you go by the Mishnah in the Tractate Tamid, even it's not specified where it's located, we can learn indirectly the location. Why? Because since it said that the place of the lamp is located in northwest, and then they mention all the other three chambers, the chamber of the seals, the chamber of the Beit HaMoked, and then the chamber that they make the shewbread. So it means that the Mishnah keep it the way that a person go around from outside that he goes opposite way of the clock. Clock, you go in the numbers, 1, 2, 3, etc., etc. Here he goes the opposite way. So, and why is that? Because they have the lottery every day. So you see the way that they make that lottery, it's go to that direction. And usually, as we said many times, Tosfot said it in the Bura Matchil Umar, that everything related to the Kedusha, the sanctity, they start with the right. So again, someone who starts with the lamp chamber, so according to the simple way of the Mishnah, is located in the northwest part. So then he goes by the western part of Beit HaMoked, and then he reaches the chamber of the seal, which is in the west-south. Then he go all the way south until he reach the place which is in the southeast, and then he go all the way to the east until he reach the point where is the place of the shewbread. So that's the shewbread. Everyone agree in that sense that it's in the corner of the east-north. So what we derive from that? That the chamber of the east bread, it's the corner of the east-north of Beit HaMoked, and not the east-south, the way that we understand in Tractate Midot. So you see here the Rashi elaborate on that a lot. But what Rashi tried to say that is a total contradiction between the Mishnah in Midot and the Mishnah in Tamid. So we umeshaninan. So how we reconcile this issue? Amar Ravuna Breder Rav Yoshua Mar kachashiv derech yamin Umar kachashiv derech yamin. So it means that the Tana, the one who they go by the Tractate Midot, so he explained that the chamber as one coming to the right, from the south to the east, then to the north, and then to the west. And the one who's going by in a Tractate Tamid envisioned that the chambers as one coming to the left, so he's go from the south and go to the west, then to the north, and then to the east. So in one area both agree that regard to the location of the chamber in which the shewbread was prepared, they describe as the location there, but they mark the location if you go by the midot from left to right, if you go by the tamid from the right to the left. So, but it's important also to note that the Mishnah in Tamid did not specify clearly in which way is those chambers. Ravuna Breder Rav Yoshua hold that if you go by those chambers, you go from right to the left in the way that the clock is moving, right? And the other one said that but Rashi here is try to say that it's not a contradiction, is the perception. So again, if you go by the way we describe every morning, when we go all this, the way that the description of the work, Abaye, and then the Zeo Mekoman, so we basically go usually by the way we understand from right to left. That's basically the way of the Masechet Tamid, the way the Mishnah Masechet Tamid. But there is a merit for the other way around, because again, that's the way the perception. Tosfot go at length and try to say that it's not only the shewbread part, but it's also the perception how basically you vision they are moving. So in next part in the Yudzayin Amud Bet, so we said in the Mishnah and Tamid go and explain the chambers as follows. You have Lishkat HaTlaim, the chamber of the lamb. Then we have Lishkat HaChotamot, the chamber of the seal. Then we have Lishkat Beit HaMoked. And then we have the chamber that they make the shewbread. So if you tell me that the chamber of the lamb, it's in this corner of the west-south, which means that it's closer to her, it means that the Mishnah begins with the corner that is west-south, and since according to Ravuna Breder Rav Yoshua, the Mishnah go from right to the left, it means that they go in the process to the right, which means the chamber of the lamb, it's the corner of southwest, then the seal in the west north, then northeast, and then the shubed chamber, it's in the east south. I amart bishlama במערבית דרומית הוואי. If you say that the chamber of the lamb is located in the southwest, which means that the center part of that chamber, it's go by the southwest of בית המוקד, היינו נמתרץ לחם הפנים, הלחם הפנים. So now the contradiction between the two statements in regard to the right location of the chamber of the showbread, so you see that you counted from right to left. Why? Because the chamber of the lamb, it was at the corner of southwest, and the Tana goes from the left. It means that the chamber of the showbread was in the corner of southeast, and that's the way the Mishnah in Tractate Midot understand. Elai amar tzfonit ma'aravit havai. But if you tell me that the centerpiece of the chamber of the lamp, it was in the northwest, sof, even we accept what Rav Huna said, mai terutza delechem apanim. How do you reconcile the contradiction between the two Mishnayot, one in Midot, one in Tamid, and specifically in the location of the chamber of the shubed? Why? Because if you tell me that the chamber of the lamb located in the northwest part, it means that the Tana in the Tractate Tamid go and count those chambers from the left. But still, we're not clear about the chamber of the showbread, that it's in the west-east. That's the way the Mishnah in Tractate Midot said. And it means that it has to be in the corner of southwest. So, elalav shma mina. So how you reconcile these two Mishnayot, especially when it's come to the chamber of the showbread? He said, "B'ma'aravit dromit havai." So it has to be, as we said, and that's the conclusion, that Shma Mina, we said several times earlier, if you remember, that when we repeat something in Gemara, like Tiyuvta, Shma Mina, it means that that's the conclusion. So how we reconcile it? We said that both Mishnayot, in Midot, in Tamid, meant one thing, which is, according to both of them, the chamber of the lamp is close to the corner of the southwest of Beit HaMoked, and the chamber of the showbread is in the corner of the southeast. And in regard to the other two, we are not clear.
The chamber of the lambs, is that where they do the korbanos specifically?
That's the way they pick the lamb. They didn't do the korban, they pick up the lamb. It was like a corner. If you see in your Gemara, you see those. So it was a place that you pick up. It's like in our simple language, is like a storage, a place.
The chamber of fire.
So it means that they pick up something and prepare it. Now you have to remember that the korban itself was made on a mizbeach, on the altar. But it was a certain place of preparation. You have a place of
preparation. Is that on the outer court, or did you gonna? This is all.
That was a special location. Was in the courtyard of Beit HaMikdash. But you have to remember that was like, in our simple language, a storage rooms, a place that you prepare things. So, for example, preparation of the showbread was by the family of Garmo. So they basically.
Where was it in relation to this?
Okay, so if you go by this, you see it. 1 second, let me see.
This is the
yes. I know. Let me find it for you. 1 second. It's Wait. Here is it.
Oh, on the outside.
This corner.
Oh.
Anyway, so you have these four parts. You need a place that you pick up all those lamb. You need a place that you prepare the shewbread by the Garmos family. You need a place that that you have the seal. You need a place that you have all this wood for use for burn the offering. So all of those. The question is how a person goes. If you go by the Mishnah in Tamid, so you go in one direction, and if you go Mishnah in Midot, you go the other direction. But basically, it's the perceptions. Tosfot Rivan said that in the entire discussion, he said that he holds that there's 6 chambers in the hall, and 4 of the 6 listed in Midot, and 4 of the 6 listed in Tamid. And those listed in Tractate Tamid are the 4 were on the sacred side of the hall of the heart, and those listed in Midot in open on the other side of the heart. So in that way, several of difficulties are resolved. That's one way to say it. The Amarmar, so we challenged that. We said Amarmar, the Tana taught in a Braita, Kol pinot שאתה פונה לא יהיו אלא דרך ימין למזרח, which means that and that we said it several times, ימין השם עושה חיל, etc., that when it's come to a service of the Beit HaMikdash, a person needs to go from the right. So if that's the case, the question is how come the Mishnah in Tamid mention all these chambers from right to left. That's the way that the person goes if he takes the other way around. So they said Hani Mile, all of that, all this idea of turning to the right when it's come to the Beit HaMikdash is ba'avodah. That's applied to the service itself. For example, sprinkle the blood on the altar, that the Kohen needs to go to the right. Aval hacha, when the Mishnah in the Tractate Tamid described the place of the chamber, chushbena be'almau. So you don't need to go especially from the right. It's just count in general, chushbena be'alma. That's the way that you go always, the way that people describe to the right. So the last part of the Mishnah said, שכהן גדול מקריב חלק בראש. That the Kohen Gadol has a special privilege that he can take each part that he wish from the offering, and also venotel chelek barosh. He has the right to pick any part he wants from those parts, the sacred part in Beit HaMikdash that divided between the Kohanim. Tanu Rabbanan. Keitzad makriv chelek barosh. How the high priest offer part first. Omer ola zo ani makriv, mincha zo ani makriv. He said, this burnt offering I am about to sacrifice, or this offering. So in other words, part of the offering is the declaration that made in advance, and the other Kohanim cannot challenge him. In other words, he said it, and since he's the Kohen Gadol, he has the privilege to do it. Keitzad notel chelek berosh. How the Kohen Gadol take any portion that he chooses first? So they said, Omer, chatat zo ani ochel. This, he said, this sin offering I am eating. Or he said, Asham ze ani ochel. He said, this guilt offering I am eating. And no one of the other Kohanim can challenge that. That's the privilege you have as a high priest. Venotel chala mishtei chalot. And he may even take one loaf of the 2 loaves offered on the festival of Shavuot. Thus follow the book of Vayikra, chapter 23. 4 ו5 ממעשה לחם הפנים. He can take 4 or 5 of the 12 shewbread loaves distribute to the Kohanim every Shabbat. Rabbi אומר, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi said, לעולם 5, שנאמר והייתה לאהרון ולבניו. He can take 5. Why? Because the Torah said in Vayikra in Leviticus chapter 24, and it shall be for Aaron and his son, and they shall eat it in a sacred place. So you derive from that, since we juxtapose between Aaron and his sons, mechza leAaron umechza levanav, half loaves giving to Aaron, and half to his sons. So what you understand? So since only 10 of the loaves were actually distributed, so therefore the Kohen Gadol received 5. So every Shabbat they have distribution of 12 loaf of bread. So since the Kohen Gadol take half, and we explained several times that it's only 10 distributed, so then he can take half. The sages, by the way, have a different approach. The sages said that Kohen Gadol take on purpose something that is a little less than a half.
These are the breads that are old from the week before?
No, it's never old. One of the miracles in Beit HaMikdash is always, yes. And also is the special recipe that the Galmos family have to keep it in such a way. Yeah. So the sages said that, that's what the Shanim explained, sages said that when you use the word mechza, half, it doesn't mean that it's total half. It means that it's close to a half, about to a half. So, ha-gufa kashya, the centerpiece of the Braita is still problematic. Why? Because it's contradicted itself. Amart notel chala achat mishtei chalot. You tell me that the Kohen Gadol takes 1 loaf from the 2 of the festival of Shavuot. Mani, who said that? Rabbi. You have to go by the Rabbi. The Amar, he said at the end of the Braita, palga shakil, that the Kohen Gadol takes a half. This the way he derived from the pasuk in the shewbread, which means he needs to give a half to Aaron, because remember the sages said that it's a little less than a half. So a little less than a half. So the same you apply in the festival of Shavuot. It's specifically less than a half by the sages. Ema metziata, you go by the middle clause of the Braita. They said 4 or 5 ממעשה לחם הפנים, 4 or 5 loaves from the shewbread. So atan lerabanan de amrei lo shakil palga. These go by the sages who said that the Kohen Gadol is not entitled to take a half, because according to the Rabbi who hold that he can take a half, he is not taking less than a half. Ema seifa, but you go to the last clause of the Braita. Rabbi Omer leolam 5, always he take 5 loaves from the shewbread, and you ask Reisha v'Seifa Rabbi umetziata Rabbanan. The first and the last part of the Braita goes by Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, and the middle part go by the sages. So how come? How you go this way? So it's a question. So he said Amar Abaye the other way. Reisha umetziata Rabbanan. The first clause and the middle clause of the Braita are according to the rabbis, the sages. What did the sages hold? That the Kohen Gadol takes specifically less than a half. And if you ask, so why he takes a loaf, one of the 2 and not less, so modu rabbanan bifrusa, so sometimes the bread is sliced, it's not full. So the sages agree that if you have a bread that is sliced, the lav orach archa ara lemeitva lekohen gadol, it's not the derech eretz. It's not proper, it's inappropriate to give a piece to the Kohen Gadol. So usually Kohen Gadol do not take a half, usually a little less, but when it's come to the 2 loaves of bread on the festival of Shavuot, he is taking specifically a half. So since we don't have only 2 loaves of bread, and you cannot slice one of them to give him a sliced bread, you need to give him a full bread. Even he receive a half from the entire offering. Now, it's important to understand that according to the rabbis, the Kohen Gadol should actually receive less than a half of the loaf. In their opinion, he is entitled to less than a half, and since it's in a way inappropriate to give him piece of the loaf, he take the entire loaf as his portions. That's the way they try to explain. Yudchet Amud Aleph. So we just continue up to the Mishnah. Umay arba o chamesh. So what is the meaning when you use the word 4 or 5? When the Kohen Gadol take 4 loaves and when he take 5 loaves? When he takes 4 and when he takes 5. So Abaye explained that that's depend in the Tanaic disputation in Tractate Sukkah, page 56, in regard to the distribution of the showbread. The Mishnah in Sukkah brings a disputation between Rabbi Yehuda and the sages in regards to amount of loaves that need to be divided from the showbread. And it's divided between different shifts of the Kohanim, the one who get in and one who come out. According to the sages, all the 12 loaves can be divided between them, and according to Rabbi Yehuda, only 10 can be divided. So why? Because you have 2 loaves of bread that was given to the shift that gets in as a reward, because on Motzei Shabbat, on Saturday night, they close the doors of the Beit HaMikdash. That's the way the Gemara in Tractate Sukkah 56b. So Abaye explained that the sages disagree with Rabbi in that Braita. They do not take any side of that disputation between Rabbi Yehuda and Chachamim. So therefore they offer their point of view in regard to the part of the Kohen Gadol in the showbread, according to Rabbi Yehuda in the Tractate Sukkah, and according to the sages who disagree with him there. L'Rabanan de Amre, according to the sages in the Tractate Sukkah that said, Nichnas notel shesh, veyotze notel shesh, they said that it's divided equally 6 and 6. The shift that come in gets 6, and the other gets 6. Uschar hagafat dlatot lo shakil. And the rewards, a special reward for closing the door, they don't get, the Bach take out the word shakil. But anyway, in other words, the shift that come in to get their part, they take part of the showbread in a reward for closing the door on Motzei Shabbat. So it means we understand Mishtem Esre by Miflag. The Kohen Gadol, it's proper for him to take his part from the 12 loaves. Betzir Chada Mipalga. You reduce 1 loaf from the 12 chalot. That's the way the sages hold that Kohen Gadol takes a little less than a half. It means Chamesh Shakil. The Kohen Gadol takes 5 loaves from the showbread, and therefore it goes in the process as follows. First, the Kohen Gadol is the first one, so he takes the 5, and then you take the 7 showbread that left between the 2 different shifts, 3.5 to get the one who entered, and 3.5 for the one who left. So it means you go like almost a half of one of the loaf split it. Why? Because if you go the way that each shift will take 6, so the Ritva explained that then the Kohen Gadol will get 2.5 loaf from each of the sheep. And what we said earlier, remember, we said that it's not derech eretz, it's incongruous to give the Kohen Gadol a half. So you can't tell me that the Kohen Gadol gets 2.5 and 2.5. You have to tell me, you have to go in the other direction. The most you can say is they split one of the chalot. So he said, Le Rabbi Yehuda, according to Rabbi Yehuda in Tractate Sukkah de Amar, Nichnas notel sheva, the one who gets in gets 7 out of 12 loaf, 2 bischar agafad latot, 2 loaf for the reward of closing the door in Beit HaMikdash in Motzei Shabbat. We said it earlier that the Kohanim that in charge of that shift on Motzei Shabbat, so they close those doors, they close the courtyard, they close the sanctuary, they close the chambers, all of those places that was open in that morning by the shift that left. So as a result, the sheep that enter takes 2 loaves of bread from the shewbread, and since this loaf receive as a reward and not as a splitting between them, the Kohen Gadol is not entitled to take part of them. That's the way Rashi here in the Ritva explains. So we said, לרבי יהודה דאמר נכנס נוטל 7, 2 בשכר הקפת דלתות, ויוצא נוטל 5, which means that how you go, say 7, you have the 12. And the one who finished their part, they pick 7, 2 for the reward of closing the doors. And the rest of the 10, so the one who, the shift who finished, take 5, me'eser ba'ei miflag. So what do you see as a conclusion? That the Kohen Gadol takes his part from the 10 shewbread only, not from the entire 12. Why? Because only 10 breads receive as a portion, the other 2 is giving as a reward, and not as part of the splitting those shewbreads. So therefore the Kohen Gadol cannot take anything. So Rashi elaborated on that, and the Rashi said, you see, it's a long Rashi here. So he said, since the Kohen Gadol has the right to pick from those a sacred item, it's not something that the Torah gives him independently, in separation from all the other splitting of the Kohanim. That's one of the halacha when divided the sacred item, that the Kohen Gadol split it with all his brethren, and he take a portion for that, or sometimes even less from that. So therefore, the Kohen Gadol can take a portion from that sacred item that's giving to the Kohanim as a part, and not from other sacred item that's giving for other reasons, like the 2 loaf of the shewbread that giving to the one who start as a reward for closing the doors. So the Gratari challenged this Rashi, and he said that only 1 loaf of bread was giving for closing the doors, and not 2. So it means that each shift receives 6 and not 5. So why the Kohen Gadol should not take his part from the 11 and not from 10? And he elaborates on that. Anyway, Betzir chada mipalga, you reduce 1 chala, 1 loaf of bread from the 5, veshakil arba. So you take only 4. Rav Amar, kula rabbi, Rava said that it's all go by Rabbi Nasi that hold that the Kohen Gadol takes from a half of those sacred items, and he said, "Vesavar la ki Rabbi Yehuda." When it's come to divide the shewbread between the shifts, he holds the same as Rabbi Yehuda in Tractate Stuka, that 2 of the bread was given to that shift as a reward for closing the doors, and not as a dividing it. So it means that only 10, it's a portion, and the Kohen Gadol take a half, which is 5. Ve'ela mai arba. What does that mean that the Kohen Gadol takes only 4 breads from the shewbread? Ha-chamesh ba'e lemishkal. He deserved to take 5. So the Gemara said, lo kashya. It's not a question. Ha-de'ika mishmar ha-mitakev. So when we said in the bride that the Kohen Gadol takes 4 loaves, it speaks about the Shabbat, that is another shift's delay in Yerushalayim because it's the holiday. So the 3 festivals, all the shifts serve in the Beit HaMikdash, and they're all divided equally with the shewbread of Shabbat that occurred during the festival. That's the Gemara in Sukkah, page 55. Good morning. So if the festival completed at the Erev Shabbat, or if it starts on Motzei Shabbat, only the shift of that week serve on that Shabbat and not during the festival. But anyway, all the shifts take equally from the shewbread of that Shabbat, because they are anyway staying in Yerushalayim, because they cannot return to their place. So therefore, they go this way. However, if the festival occurred on Thursday or on Monday, so they don't need to stay in Yerushalayim. So if those shifts come earlier, before the Shabbat, before the festival, or the delay thereafter, you divided it between those shifts. So in other words, always you divided these 2 loaf of bread. So he said, Ve'ela mai arba, ha-chamesh ba'i lemishkal. So basically, it's 5, it's not 4. So he said, Lokashya, ha-de'ika mishmar ha-mitakev, ha-deleika mishmar ha-mitakev. It's not difficult, because the halakha that the high priest takes 4 loaves is in a case where there is a watch that was detained. When the start of the festival occurred on Sunday night, and one of the Kohanim watchers was forced to arrive before Shabbat to ensure that they will arrive in time for the festival, or if the festival ends on Thursday, and one of the Kohanim, the watch, was detained until the conclusion of Shabbat, and only then departed, so then the priestly watch take 2 loaves. So he said, I'ika. So that halakha that the Kohen Gadol take 5 loaves in a case that there is not a watch that is detained, and the shewbread is divided only between the watch that conclude the service of Shabbat, as we said, Motzei Shabbat. I'ika mishmar ha-mitakev mishmona ba'e lemiflag, v'shaki ל4, v'ilekha mishmar ha-mitakev me10 ba'e lemiflag, v'shaki ל5. So he obviously says if you have the watch that is detained, so 4 from 8 of the Kohen Gadol must divide the loaves and take 4, and if it's not the watch that detained, it's from the 10 that must divide the loaves, and the Kohen Gadol takes 5. So the Gemara said, Hachei mai Rabbi omer לעולם 5. So if it's in the middle of the statement of the Braita, the Seder of Yehuda Nasi, referring that always take 5. So they said sometimes the Kohen Gadol take only 4. So they said Kashya. So it's difficult to reconcile the rabbi's interpretation with the language of the Braita. So it's usually when the Gemara finished with the word Kashya, not with the word Tuvta, it means Rashi said that you can explain it, but it's not it's called bedochak. It's hard to accept it. The Ritva said that sometimes it's correct that the Kohen Gadol receive only 4 loaves, but it's only in the case that you have the sheep that is detained. But he think that it's usually applied to those regular Shabbatot, that is no issue of any sheep that detained. Rambam, Sefer Avodah, Ilchot Klei HaMikdash, chapter 5. Kohen Gadol notel chelek barosh. So we said, good morning, the high priest has the right. That's the beauty of the high priest. With all of his obligation, he have also the right. He have the right to take the first portion of all sacrificial meat. If he wishes, he may declare, I will take this sin offering or this guilt offering. That's the privilege he holds. Also, when it's come to shewbread, we said, Kohen Gadol notel milechem apanim. That's the Rambam, Hilchot Midim Umusafim, chapter 4. He said, the Kohen Gadol takes half of the shewbread from every priestly watch, but it is not in keeping with the deference due to the Kohen Gadol to give him a piece of a loaf. So the Lechem Mishnah on the Rambam explains that the Rambam rules, according to the opinion of Rabbi Nasi, based on the fact that the conclusion of the Gemara in Tractate Batra, it's follow this opinion. So it means Rambam adopted Abaye interpretation of the opinion of Rabbi Nasi, despite the principle that the halacha is according to the opinion of Rava, that disagree with Abaye. So because the key is that Rava's opinion leaves some questions unanswered. So basically, you see, we learn today not only the direction it takes, but also the privileges that the Kohen Gadol have. It's a lot of obligation, but they have some privileges as well.